information or get guidance as regards or key strategies that you can use as a professional in each of these analytical fields. But I really just want to know, or will I say, meet everyone here? Okay, so I just want to know, is this your very first Amdari session, and where are you joining from, right? So to make it easier, if this is your very first Amdari session, I'll need you to drop a 1 in the chat. So hi, Uche Chuku, a good evening to you. Okay, so we are about 29 on this call. All right, so if this is your very first Amdari session, I need you to drop a 1 in the chat. If this is not, I need you to drop a 0. So I can see a response from Sharon, Kelvin, Ebe, Caleb, Adil T, Oluwati Medley. I'm sorry. Well, apologies for that. Fine. Can I get more responses? So Ijama saying she's been here before. Awesome. John, Gabi, Musa, Daniel. I need more responses before we jump into the schedule that we have for today. All right, so regardless, welcome to this session. This will just last roughly for an hour and we'll be done because today is a Friday evening and I really won't want to keep us on the call. So what I would just recommend is I would need you to listen, right? The slides, the recording, and the resources that we would use for this session would be emailed to you. So all you need to do is fill the attendance form that would be sent to the chat. So Tomiwa would send that in and you can fill it. And what I would highly recommend you to do is listen, because most times when we are trying to take notes or trying to jot some stuff down, there would be like divided attention. So I just want us to follow through and we'll be good to go. So I can see more responses. That's great. So it's nice to meet everyone, or rather meet everyone, and we would jump right in. Now, if this is your very first Amdari session, right, and what we do at Amdari, the simplest explanation I can give you, you are on this call either because you are into any of the analytical careers that we listed out, right? You could be a beginner, an enthusiast, or a mid-level professional. Now, you've gone through all of the basic, you probably watched YouTube videos or took some courses and all of that, right? But in terms of technical exposure, in terms of technical competency, what you've learned and then what is required in the industry, in the everyday procedures, in terms of how they solve problems, in terms of how they deliver their solutions, right? There is a gap in terms of your knowledge and what is expected. So what we do at Amdari is to just close that gap, right? In simplest of terms, that's what Amdari, that's the vision of Amdari. That is what we are centered around. So Amdari is an innovative platform designed to revolutionize how aspiring data professionals build their careers and gain practical experience. Again, this is where you are. This is what is expected in the industry. So we are closing that gap. All right. And we are revolutionizing the way industry professionals gain experience. You know, since the beginning of this introduction, I have continuously emphasized on the fact that Amdari is tailored towards you gaining practical experience, becoming technically competent. So you would have gone through the basics of either data analytics, cybersecurity, or whichever career path that you are interested in. Our goal here at Amdari is to ensure that you gain practical experience. Now, moving forward to my slide, this is myself. I am Esegana Brahma. I am a data scientist and I lead the internship experience here at Amdari. I have more of my experience has been centered around data science. I've done research across natural language processing, geosemantics, AI engineering, and yeah, I have this motive of making AI less complicated. So it's nice to meet everyone. Welcome. And before I proceed, can I just get a reaction, right, to know that I am not alone? Because this place is becoming unusually quiet. I need to know that I am not alone here and I'm not really talking to myself. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I'll just be proceeding to my next slide and be jumping to what we have in store for today's session. So just have like a rough overview, analytical careers that you could leverage, then key strategies to landing your first analytical role, then the Amdari, we'll talk about the Amdari work experience, internship, and a special offer to you. Again, what I just need you to do is listen. All of the resources that we would use, the apologies, this is supposed to be a K, right? But all of the resources that we would use in this session would be emailed to you. Now we'll be jumping right in. So before we proceed, there are 3 analytical parts that were labeled out in the flyer of the session, right? So I want to ask, which of them are you interested in? Or which of them are you currently operating in, or you've done some programs, you've learned some stuff, or you've taken courses on Excel, Power BI, SQL, or any of the above? I need the responses in the chat, right? So I would really want this to be like a back and forth scenario, so I know that you're following me, right? So I ask questions and then you respond, and we enjoy ourselves, we learn, and we call it a day. So I can see HR analytics, currently on data analytics. Interesting. I need more responses. I need more responses. I need more responses. We are like over 30 on this call. Let's see, data analytics, why say a lot of data analytics? Come on, I was hoping I would see a data science professional by chance. Yeah, but regardless, welcome. I need more responses. I believe the data analytics guys are winning, right? But regardless, let's jump right into what we have for this session. Now, what exactly does analytics mean? Right? Because when I see this a lot, some persons cannot really differentiate, oh, I'm a business analyst. What does a business analyst do? Right? That is analysis. But in terms of analytics, what do we think it means? So if I could get suggestions in the chat, that would be lovely. So I know, oh, okay, we have like a little bit of information as regards how this works, right? So I would need more responses. Can we hear me clearly? What do we think analytics mean? Or should I just proceed with my explanation? Come on. Oh my goodness. All right, so regardless, I would proceed. So I always use this simple scenario, right? Picture analysis as what you do, right? And picture analytics as the entire scope of not you just defining what you do, but how are you going to do it? What strategies, what tools, what techniques, what methodologies are you going to utilize in ensuring that whatsoever the target or whatsoever the end goal of that business problem or that solution that you're trying to deliver for an organization means? So analytics is the broader scope of how you would implement a scenario, right? So coming to the definition that I have here, right? It just involves collecting, processing, interpreting data to uncover insights that helps organizations make informed decisions and improve performance. Recall what I mentioned was analytics is just picture the entire scope of you have a problem. How exactly would you solve that problem? So what strategies, what tools, what techniques, what measures would you utilize in solving that problem that is now data driven, right? If you notice, one of the reasons why data is, there's like a buzz on data is new, or even in terms of large language models or natural language processing, is because based off information that has happened in the past, right? You can now infer, you can create projections, you can create, let's say, guidelines on what to do in the next sector or the next quarter. Why? Because this has happened in the past. There's already information that has been stored somewhere. Again, the entire scope or the entire context of how exactly you do or how exactly are you going to solve this problem. All right, so now coming back again, analytics involves collecting, processing, and interpreting data to uncover insights that help organizations make informed decisions and improve performance. Now, irrespective of the domain. That's why you'd see people analytics, business analytics, information analytics, data analytics, financial analytics. There are a lot of analytics. Trust me, right? As the world is evolving and then get new career paths that are being exposed and all of that, right? The goal, the main goal is what? You are trying to process, collect, interpret data, uncover trends and patterns to achieve what? A defined goal. That's just it. So irrespective of what they put or how they cloud or fine-tune the end role, what is called, the main goal is the entire process, the strategies, the measures, the tools, the techniques that you would utilize as a professional in delivering that solution or in solving that problem. You know, I am always of the opinion that as a professional, there are two scenarios. It's either you are deploying your, what's it called, your knowledge, right? Or in terms of skill wise, but the end goal is the fact that you are offering value, right? That's why you get employed. That's why organizations would request your services, because they know that there's a certain level of skill or there's a certain level of solution that you would have that would add value to their processes and improve their performance. All right, so moving forward, analytical roles are crucial across different sectors to identify trends and patterns. Again, when I mentioned the entire context of why there's a buzz, there has always been a buzz for like the past 5 years, right, plus on data, because of the volume of data that is being generated across different sectors. And organizations and companies, but not just like the big fours or top companies, but even like small scale and medium scale-based organization, they've noticed that, oh, this is actually working, right? You know, if you, let's say, grow up in Nigeria or you grew up in an African country before migrating and all of that, right? You know, we have this natural tendency to do stuff because we see it's working for other people. So picture that in this scenario, right, they've noticed that you can look at past trends, you can look at past scenarios, right, patterns that have happened in the past, and use all of that to make decisions, right, that would improve your processes, that would avoid errors, that would avoid issues that can cost you a lot. So that is why you venturing into an analytical path is extremely crucial, because you are always going to be providing value. That's just it. If you're continuously providing value, you would always be in demand. It's not rocket science. It's just a simple math, right? You're providing value. There's an organization that needs this kind of technique, this kind of measures that you would be offering, and you work together collaboratively and they pay for your services and you achieve the target goal. Now, moving to my next point, after identifying trends and patterns, basically to optimize business processes and support strategic decisions. So this is just like a high level summary, right? You can, let's say, do a research as regards to nitty-gritty details, but this is just like a basic overview of why the context of analytical rules are very, very important in this domain. Again, I just need a reaction. Sometimes I feel like I am alone when I am speaking, right? Especially on virtual sessions. But I want to know, are you currently with me? Are you following? Are we learning something? Are we excited? Or I'm basically just speaking Spanish? I'm running on, let's say, autopilot. I need a reaction, guys. I need more reactions. Can I get more reactions? All right. So moving to my next slide, which would just be like a high level overview. Now, again, you know, I mentioned that analytics is how you do it. The entire process of collecting, analyzing trends and patterns, the tools, the methodologies, the techniques that you utilize in offering what, you know, from the previous slides, I mentioned that you are either trying to identify patterns, you are trying to, let's say, offer a solution, support business decisions and all of that. So irrespective of which domain of let's say the analytical career that you're working in, right? Your main goal is to do what? Provide solution. That's just the truth, right? So coming back to my slide, this is just like a demo of the different analytical parts, right, that we listed out from the beginning of the session. And I would want us to identify them for me. Now, this is person one. They collect, process, and interpret large data sets to find patterns, track performance, and provide actionable insights. Key responsibilities: they clean and organize data, analyze sales, customer behavior. This is just like a high level overview, create dashboards and reports for decision makers. Then moving on to this lady that is smiling. Now, they use workforce data to improve recruitment, employee retention. This is already like me giving you the expo, right? And workplace efficiency. So the key responsibilities there would be analyze employee turnover and satisfaction rates, optimize recruitment processes, identify skills, and suggest training. Now, coming back to this guy, the last guy in this section, examines financial data, market trends, and company performance to support strategic investments and budgeting decisions. Key responsibilities would be to analyze revenue and cost patterns, build financial models to forecast future performance, ensure the financial health of the organization is good through risk assessment. So guys, for each of the three segments that I have mentioned, who is who? That's just the question. So I know that you are following me, right? Because from the earlier question that I asked, we are not like absolute beginners here. We have a high level overview of the different parts that were listed out. So I just want to know who is who? Who is who? Who is the data analyst? Who is the HR analyst? Who is the financial analyst? Are we currently with me on this call? Why do I feel like we're not with me on this call? Can I get responses to this from the three segments that I have mentioned? Who do we think is responsible? Who is the data analyst here? Who is the financial analyst here? Who is the HR analyst here? Do we have a data scientist here? Hello? Can we confirm that we can hear me clearly? All right. So thank you very much for that, Tomiwa. Now, so we can respond to if we can hear me clearly, but we cannot respond to the fact that there's a question on my screen. Right, that's very, very interesting. Now, coming back to my slides, I will just proceed and give us a detailed overview. Right, so we have the data analyst, the HR analyst, and the financial analyst. Guys, what do you notice? There's something that is common across the different career paths. Is the fact that you are deploying your skills, your tools, your techniques in using like a data-driven approach, right, for solving the specific problems that they have. This guy comes here and collects data for like a specific domain, right? That's why they'll tell you that as a data analyst, you're actually more diverse because of the fact that you have the basic foundational knowledge, but then you need to apply this to different sectors or dependent on the role that you now join in, either as a, let's say, a supply chain analyst, a logistics analyst, a health analyst, and then all of that scenarios, right? But for if you're specializing as a HR analyst, your goal is to improve the entire workforce of the organization that you'll be working with. Then as a financial analyst, the fact that financial is already there, right? It's money, it's risk, it's revenue, it's budgeting to ensure that, oh, you are trying to collect, analyze, interpret data, right? Again, I'm emphasizing on analytical careers, right? Because once you get the understanding that this is necessary for the future of work, if you have seen that report on the future of work as regards roles that would be in demand or that are currently in demand, it's because you are contributing a valuable skill, a valuable technique in helping these organizations make important decisions. Again, as a data analyst, your responsibility would be to, in terms of reporting, cleaning and organizing your data to identify past strengths, narrow and all of that. But as the HR analyst, yes, you are taking a data-driven approach, but you're now in the domain of employee retention, recruitment, workforce management, in terms of efficiency. There's even an aspect of HR analytics that you'd see as people analytics, right? So it's more like the same thing, but it's now people. They can term you as a people analyst in that organization, right? But your main goal is the fact that you're what? Deploying the tools, the techniques, the strategies to ensure that whatsoever the target is, or that the goal of the organization, or in improving the decision-making or employee retention. Now, this is as regards people. Then for the financial analyst, again, it's still the same data. But in this scenario, it's now to the domain of finance, right? So that's where your financial models come into place, your budgeting, your risk assessment, and all of the nitty-gritty details of a finance professional that you would be utilizing in this domain. So moving to my next slide, this is just a, let's say, an overview so you can have like an in-depth understanding before we move on to the key strategies that you would need to utilize. Now, this is a, let's say, demo of an organization just to provide more context. There's a problem. Mary noticed a 15% drop in online sales over the past 6 months. Now, this is a problem. As a data analyst, you would, in this scenario, collect sales and website traffic data from either their CRM tool or wherever the repo of their data is. Now, you identify that most of the abandoned carts were occurring at the payments page. Then you presented a dashboard showing conversion rates, customer journey maps, and the impact of slow load times. Then the insight is, oh, this carts that you noticed, right, that were abandoned rather at the payment page was because there was like timeouts that occurred frequently, right, at that scenario where let's say customers rather want to make their purchase, right? So in all of this, the summary is what you identified the problem, right? There was the data that you collected, then you interpreted based off the data, based off what has happened in the past. Okay, you know, as in terms of analytics or as a data analyst, you are more inclined towards descriptive, that's what has happened, and diagnostic, why exactly did that happen? So you notice that, oh, there was the 15% drop. So why did this happen was in terms of you going to your data to understand trends and patterns and decipher that, oh, this is where the problem is coming from. Now, coming back to another scenario to explain or better help us understand the context of the HR analyst. Now, this person noticed that there's like a high employee turnover in the sales department. They analyzed exit interview data, performance metrics, and employee satisfaction surveys. They found out that 60% of sales staff living cited a lack of career development opportunities. Now, recall that from a previous slide, I mentioned that you are tailored towards people. So in another sense, it could be people analysis, people analytics and all of that, but your sole goal is to ensure that in that domain, in that sector of dealing with people in an organization, the workforce, employees and all of that, your goal is to understand the processes that they follow, the issues that they have, and strategies that would be utilized to implement or improve their everyday life. You know, people are what profit an organization, right? So they would be responsible for dealing with your customers, even if nowadays you have AI agents and all of that, but they are very, very vital to the success of an organization. So if you want to, let's say, improve processes, you will need to deal or understand the current nuances of people in an organization. So you as the HR analyst, again, analytics, you are trying to use your data to profess solutions. Now, coming to the financial analyst scenario, they noticed that quarterly profits had declined despite stable revenue. Now, as a professional, you would analyze the company's income statements, balance sheets, and cash flows, right? You discovered that rising operational costs, especially in terms of warehousing and logistics, were eroding, let's say, the benchmarks as margins that were set. And based off your analysis, you're recommending negotiating with supplier contracts and adopting like lean inventory or better optimized practices, right? So by implementing these changes, you projected a 7% reduction in operational costs. Again, there is you deploying your analytical skills, but to specific domains. Right. So this is what the data analyst would do. This is just a scenario. This is what the HR analyst would do. And this is what the financial analyst would do. But it's just for each of these specific domains, you'll now be deploying your tools in that specific sector. All right. Now moving to my next slide. Okay, this is just give me a moment. Let me check on this. Before we proceed, I want to ask, are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good to go? Are we following before we get to the key strategies that we could utilize? Are we good? Are we good to go? I need a reaction. I don't know. Is it because it's Friday? That's why I'm getting like very low responses. Or should we do a mini exercise here? So I know I'm not, so I know I'm on the right path and then I'm not just turning on my own. All right, so moving to my next slide. Thank you very much. I see that we are following. Moving to my next slide. Again, one of the advantages of being in an analytical career path is the fact that you can work across different sectors. It's just you applying the foundational tools that you have learned in that domain. Again, we can see the tools that are listed out. So as a data analyst, this is, you can work as a product analyst, a business intelligence analyst, an operation analyst, logistics analyst, a marketing analyst. There's a lot. Sometimes when we get to apply for jobs, we think that we must always see data analysts. No, right? There are different variations of names that employers would or the recruitment team would put out, but you just need to go back and check the job description and see if it aligns with your experience or the skill set that you have. Again, coming back to the HR analyst. So in terms of what people analytics, talent analytics, recruitment analytics, there's a lot of names that they would give to this. But going back to the entire context of analytics, of you trying to collect, you trying to understand, you trying to analyze, interpret your data to find trends and patterns that can aid decision making or contribute to a solution or contribute to the next level for an organization. In terms of financial analytics too, you could work as a corporate financial analyst, investment analyst, credit analyst, treasury analyst. There's a lot more. These are just some names. And in terms of remuneration, guys, recall I mentioned that when you're talking about remuneration, you need to think about the value that you are providing. So if the value is proportional to the demand in, let's say, the industry, you know that, oh, for that role, right, you would be getting a good remuneration for that. So that's why the buzz about, oh, okay, data analytics, HR analytics, data science, in fact, and other career paths that would involve you trying to analyze trends and patterns and contribute to strategic decision making for various businesses. Now, moving to my next slide, this is where I want us to discuss. What do we think is priority in landing an analytical role? Right? I want us, because I am always of the opinion that you know where the shoe fits, you know where the problem is, right? So based off your own experience, if you can identify what exactly the problem you're facing is, then you can now from there try to devise solutions or try to devise strategies or next steps to eliminate that problem. Because most at times we try to think about the bigger picture of, oh, okay, I'm in data analytics. This is what I want to do. This is what I should achieve. This is where I should be, blah, 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 and stuff like that, right? But the detailed steps now, right, that would ensure that you are where you want to be or you are achieving that specific target that you set for yourself. Most of the times when I get to speak to people or join their recruitment session, you see there's more like a gap in that scenario. So guys, I want us to send in the chat, what do we think is priority, or what do you think would get you towards landing an analytical role? So I need our responses. Again, I believe I mentioned this earlier. You get the slides, you get the recording for this session. All you need to do is just fill the attendance form that was sent into the chat. What do we think is priority, or what steps do we need to utilize in landing an analytical role? So I need our responses. Experience. Why do you think experience? Akindele is saying job experience. Why do we think experience? I need more responses, guys. Okay. We are like over 40 plus on this call, and I'm getting responses for just 2 persons. Is it that we know the problem, but we don't want to speak about it, or there's like another scenario? Guys, I need us to comment. What do we think is priority in landing an analytical role. If this is in demand, and we know that the foundation or what is expected is us trying to analyze and understand what has happened, trends and patterns, and strategically contribute to what is or the goal of an organization. So Caleb is saying experience, building projects, skills and experience, job experience. Okay, so I'll just proceed to the next aspect of my slide, and we'll be wrapping up in a couple of minutes. Now, coming back to my slides, again, I know you've been saying skills and experience, right? That's absolutely correct. But sometimes people negate or forget this aspect, right? Master essential analytical tools. This is necessary. It will shock you that in a lot of organizations, they still use Excel. And no, I'm not kidding. I'm being practically honest. Some of these organizations that you think you see the job description, it's massive, you think that, or you assume that you do, let's say, an in-depth, or you'll be focused with Power BI or Tableau, or you'll be sending out queries and all of that. You'll be surprised that when you get in, you'll be working entirely with Excel. And then probably you just have to use pivot tables a lot and to make life easier for yourself, the advanced Excel features. So it is necessary. Learn, right? I cannot overemphasize, or will I say underemphasize in this scenario, right? The aspect of learn, because sometimes when I get to join interview sessions, because I'm part of the technical team, and again, I get to listen to people talk, you've not done the work, you've not gone through the basics. You want to, because if I'm recruiting you to my team, right, you're coming to join my team, I want to ensure you will not stress me. It's not magic. I need to ensure that you have the skill set that will be required in jumping in right on the go and contributing to the project that is assigned to my team, right? So thinking that you have learned data analytics is not you learning data analytics. So thinking that you have the skill or that you know the skill, because if I, let's say, I send in a link now and do like a mini data analytics test on this call, you'll be surprised at the scores that people would get. But then again, we keep on clamoring about the fact that, oh, we're not getting jobs, and this, we're applying. But do you exactly have the skills? And you might be lucky that your interview might just be the less technical one, right? But there's scenarios whereby, my dear, you go so far, let me use that term, right? So aside to doing the first stage of you talking to the team, when you're moving to the next stage, right, where they'll give you like a data set, or you'd have to script or do like a scenario analysis and give valuable feedback, you would need to put your tools that you stated in your CV, you need to put them into practice so you can win the recruitment team over. So the very first stage, the very first foundation, if you're currently on this call, settle down and learn, right? Because when you jump in, or when you get employed after all of the buzz in your interview session and all, right, if you're not able to deploy your skills directly, right, even if there are scenarios whereby you might get to learn on the job, but that's absolutely very weird, right? Or that's in the middle, because you would want to deliver on specific timeline, right? So it will not be you dedicating extra hours or reaching out to your colleagues, friends, and mentors to ensure that you deliver. So it is priority, irrespective of the domain that you'll be working with, right? In terms of finance, in terms of the entire structure of creating like a balance sheet and all of that, right? Settle down and learn. Once that foundation is solid, it will propel you further to the next aspect of your career. Again, people try to rush through this phase. You've watched one YouTube video on data analytics. That is not you deploying this in solving problems, in creating solutions. No, that is just you thinking that, oh, I have learned this skill because I watched like a 2 seconds video, or let's say I did like a mini stuff on data analytics. Again, it is analytical. It is how you do it. It is how you deploy your tools, your techniques that you have learned in solving a problem. So the next step would be in terms of develop analytical thinking and problem solving skills. Now, I say this a lot, right? If you are transitioning to an analytical career, right, irrespective of what you have done before, don't just throw away your past experience. No, it is absolutely crucial, right? Because in that scenario, in all of those places that you've worked previously, you would have one way or the other perfect solutions. You would have one day had to cook up a a detailed process flow of, oh, this is how we should solve this problem. These are the steps. These are the metrics that we should use to guide us. These are the targets that we need to achieve. So all of those experience, right, actually contributes to you being a professional. So I know tech people, we are usually like more inclined towards us learning the tools and all of that. But in terms of the employability side, it is crucial. So you need to develop analytical and problem solving skills. You need to understand the entire process of like, let's say, a project data lifecycle in terms of ask, prepare, ask, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? Prepare, what do we need to solve this problem? Process, what's the next line of action? And excellence is in details. That's what some people forget. Sometimes we think about the bigger picture. Oh, this is the problem that we want to solve. But what step-by-step methodology, what step-by-step technique are we going to utilize in ensuring that we achieve this problem, right? That's the entire phase of ask, prepare, process, analyze, before you now get to the aspect of sharing your insights with your stakeholders, with your team members, with project consultants, and then with the management, right, to the next line of action so they can implement. Again, learning is foundation. Whilst you are learning, right, or when you are done, because learning is continuous. I'm being practically honest with you. You can wake up tomorrow and then there's another aspect of a tool that's just been published and you will need to learn it, right? But then again, develop problem solving skills because these are crucial to your role, right? What I mentioned previously is you trying to offer value, you trying to think on the spot to ensure that you are solving a problem. So the next step would be work on projects. Thank you that some of us responded in the chat. So if you're currently on this call and you know deep down, you know that you're talking about being a data analyst, you're talking about being a HR analyst or a financial analyst without you actually doing the work, because this is something that I have noticed across a lot of Africans when I get to speak with them. You're talking about the fact that you've been applying for jobs and you're not getting them. You're talking about the fact that, okay, this is something that you want to achieve. But in terms of doing the background work, and this is not me motivating you or trying to inspire, this is reality. In terms of you doing the background work, you need to sit up, because there are a lot of people in the market. What's going to make you stand out? What's going to make you, let's say, differentiate you or make you, like I always use the outlier scenario, that when I look at your profile, when I look at your CV, I see that there's something unique that this particular professional can contribute to my organization or to my team. All right, so coming back, practice, practice, and practice. Your skill or the domain that you're working on, again, emphasis on the fact that it is how you do it. That's a summary from my own point of view of analytics, right? How you're going to solve that problem. And in terms of how you're going to be utilizing tools, techniques that you need to hone and refine, right? So moving to my next step would be build an impressive portfolio that tells a story. Now, you can be so good at what you do and literally nobody knows that you exist. That's just the sad truth, right? In your mind, you're an absolute professional. You're good to go. You know how to use this tool. But if there's no track record, that's why I always, when I get to mentor people and speak to them, I always recommend that start posting. I know that you might feel that, oh, okay, I'm like introverted and all of that. But if you don't want to post on, let's say, LinkedIn, you can create like a Medium account, or let's say your GitHub repo, or you have like a portfolio, and then start documenting your growth. Right? Recruiters love that, especially if you are transitioning from a career that, okay, you didn't have like a CS degree or you didn't read statistics and all of that and back in college and all of that, right? Start documenting the process that, oh, this was a project that you did. Talk about it. We're moving to a century or a lifetime whereby you being quiet, the reality of this is it won't do you any good. Even if you're not really the outgoing person, you can do this once in a while, but have that standard portfolio that, oh, this is the work that I've done. Work on project, those dashboards that you have that looks awesome, that looks sweet, that you're keeping in your PC. Your PC is going to crash. And that will be the end. Funny thing is, that's something that happened to me. So that's why I'm extremely emphasizing on this. You might have a track record that will see your growth, that will see the process that you utilized, right, in achieving you transitioning. There was a session that we had yesterday with a recruiter, and he mentioned this, that most times when they want to, let's say, bring in a professional, what they just do is just Google you and then they check your profile. But you won't know because they're using the premium version of LinkedIn, and then they get to see what you've done previously. If you want to be a ghost, it's not doing you good. All right, once in a while, even if you don't have to do it consistently, you can be so good at what you do, and literally nobody gives, I will not say gives two shits, right? But nobody knows what you do. You need to talk about it, even if you know the wow person, but you need to document, have it somewhere, and attach that to your LinkedIn profile or your CV, right? As like the hyperlink. So when I click on it, it takes me directly to see the work that you have done. Guys, I always recommend, think about this. Put yourself in the position of the recruiter. You want somebody to come to your organization and do a job for you. You would want to get the very best person for that role, right? You will not want to go through the stress of having to recruit all over again and go through the process of multiple interviews that are stressful, right? So you would want to pick a person that ticks all of the boxes. Does this person have a structured CV? Is there a portfolio? Can I see the project that this person has worked on? It is not rocket science, guys. It is you just doing the work and not just talking about the fact that, oh, okay, you're not getting this. Why are you not getting this? Right? Have a self-reflection, a self-evaluation scenario, and then detail out structured steps that you can use or that can propel yourself. Oh, I'm giving myself the next quarter. I want to work on this different aspects that I have identified personally that are extremely lagging, and improve from there. All right. So moving to my next step would be in terms of I believe I delved into this, right? Master resume and LinkedIn optimization. Trust me, this is very, very crucial right now, right? Gone are the days where people will just trust you, right? They would want to check you out and see, oh, is this like a bot, right, that is applying for this role? Or is this an actual professional that is in sync with what we are looking for in this organization? Now, you need to have a good profile. That's extremely important. Even if, like I mentioned before, there are some persons that don't really like the social media stress, just have it optimized and leave it there. Right. So when you want to refer back to it, or when you apply for a job, and then what can make you stand out is just the fact that, oh, okay, this person looked like a thought leader from their profile. All right, then the final would be to network and apply strategically. If I'm being honest with you, most of the contract roles I have gotten, I did not have to apply, right? Either from like a tech event I went to, or somebody that I connected with on LinkedIn, or somebody on my contact list just knows that Brima does something relating to data science and AI, and then we can bring her to this project and all of that. That's one of the fastest ways to get a job. And being practically honest, because I too do it myself, right? So if there's an opening in an organization or a friend of mine, it revolves in cycles. That's the reality of life, actually, right? Most times, I think they call it updates, right? Updates usually reside among people, and it is necessary for you to increase your network. You are a data analyst, a financial analyst, HR analyst. Who do you know? Who else do you know in your career path? Right? Who have you connected with? I always recommend that on LinkedIn, if you have a profile, connect with people that are in your domain, right? Because those are the guys that would relate to what you do. If you make a post about, okay, let's say a data set that you worked on, that you provided strategy, they would be the ones to give you valuable feedback. If there's an opening, they would be the one to repost that opening that you'd see on your field, right? If they've noticed that they've been seeing your face a lot, right? That there's a track record of you delivering excellence, right? They can always refer you. Trust me, this is one of the fastest ways to getting a role. But in a scenario whereby you do not have this liberty of networking with people and meeting a lot of people, or depending on the demographic of where you reside, then just put in the necessary steps, right, that would help you or propel you to the next level. Recall, I've been emphasizing on the fact that a lot of Africans, I've noticed this, we talk about the problem a lot. I don't know if it's because of how we grew up, or how, I think that's like a factor that shapes who we become, right? We talk about the problem a lot, but the strategies, the step-by-step scenarios or techniques that you would utilize in landing that role, right? If you're not getting the role, you know there's a problem, right? So how many jobs do you apply to per day? Do you ensure that, or do you take in your CV and then the job description? There's a tool that can do that for you. Just put it, identify the keywords in the job description, place it on your CV, and AI can do that for you, right? To make life easier for you and ensure that it passes the ATS system. Do you have a portfolio? Is your LinkedIn optimized? Do you have the skill set? Not just you applying to jobs that you know that you don't qualify for, right? But you are hoping on God or whatsoever you believe in to help you come true. It doesn't work that way, right? Yes, there's the aspect of, let's say, the God helping you and all of that, but you need to put in the work, right? It's not magic. Okay, so guys, are we good? Are we good? Are we good? We'll be wrapping up. I don't want to keep us on the call for like a long time, but have we received or obtained value so far? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Let me just move on to my next slide. And yeah. Okay, now I want you to be practically honest. If you know me, you know I'm always of the opinion or of doing self-evaluation, because I feel that if you can understand what the problem is for yourself, you know how to propel, or you know how to make necessary changes and then get like a better scenario or an improvement of your current status. I need to be honest with me. No, I don't know you, so we won't see, except if we meet at an interview session or something, right? Which of these quadrants do you fall into? Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. You've mastered essential tools, the essential analytical tools, or you're in this scenario whereby you understand the entire flow of your working on a project. What's the very first thing you do on a project? And the very first thing you do in the project is ask a lot of questions to understand the business problem, right? Let me give you that hint now. Or you're here, you worked on projects, you mastered your tools, or you're here, you worked on projects, you are an experienced professional, you have a portfolio, and you've developed all of the skills. So I need responses in the chat. Again, self-evaluation would help you because you know the problem that you are facing. You know, the very first step of a data analytics process is understanding the problem that you're trying to solve. So now, this is a self-evaluation of the problem that you're currently in, right? So from there, understanding the problem, like I rightly mentioned before, would now give you an idea as regards, oh, what should I do moving forward to bring about a solution to this problem? Guys, I need more responses. I can see quadrant 1, quadrant 3. Do I need to call us individually to respond to this? But regardless, I am going to proceed to my next slide so we don't take so much time on the call. Caleb is saying quadrant 1. Why quadrant 1? Then let's see, Stephen Damilare Olawale Bakare is saying quadrant 3. That's interesting. So I will just be moving to the next aspect of my slides and we would proceed. All right. Now, the question is, irrespective of the domain or the quadrant that you are currently in, there's a reason why you're not landing analytical roles. And I've continuously mentioned since the beginning of this call that it's not magic, actually, right? Going back to my previous slide, look at each of these scenarios. Look at where you fall in, and from there, start building up steps or techniques or strategies that you would be utilizing, right, in achieving that goal. So Collins already did an overview of the different career paths, right? Again, it's analytics. The goal is the factor. Why am I saying quadrant 0? Oh my goodness, Ifeanyi, are you kidding me? Right? The goal is the fact that each of those skills that you've learned, you're applying into a specific domain to solve a problem for that domain, right? If you notice the slide where I shared the different tools, right? They cut across. It's more like you're working with the same tools, but your KPIs will not be different in terms of if it's a financial analyst, you'll not be specific to financial modeling, to risk management, budgets, and all of that, right? But for the HR professional, there are scenarios whereby it will just be like your workforce data you'll be analyzing, right? You'd have to take surveys. What are the specific, let's say, what are the specific KPIs that you set for each member of an organization, and try to see that, oh, what has happened in the past? They didn't meet those goals, or these are like this benchmarks are too extreme. That's what is now contributing to employee attrition and all of that. All right, so moving to my next slide so we can wrap up. There is a reason why you are not landing these analytical roles. Again, guys, self-evaluation is very, very necessary. Know where you are, know where you want to be. What is the problem between where you are and where you want to be, and start implementing, right? And start implementing. That is very, very, very necessary. All right, so moving to my next slide, I have another question, and I want us to be honest. Which one comes first? I got a job or experience? Which one do we think comes first? Experience or I got a job? Experience, I need responses in the chat. Is it possible for you to make a session on data analytics or data science in minor industry? That's interesting. We could look into that. That would be Gabella. Guys, I need responses. Experience, gotten job. I think it's possible to gain experience on the job. Interesting. Stephen Damilari is saying experience. I need more responses, guys. Esther is saying experience. So when I was asking us the quadrants that we fall in, we did not respond. But for this particular question, I'm seeing our responses. Again, self-evaluation. I don't know. Self-evaluation is very, very necessary because you understand the problem that you are at, and then you know how to proceed moving forward. So coming back to my slides, naturally, in a standard scenario, you are meant to, let's say you're done with college and all of that, right? When you get a job, that's when you are meant to get experience, right? Naturally, that's what is meant to happen in a normal environment. But guys, follow me closely. Let's settle this scenario of experience and all of that. So this is the UK Skills Strategy Report. You can click on the link here to view it. Again, these slides would be available to you. Vacancies that prove hard to fill due to shortages of applicants with the required skills, qualifications, or experience. Skills shortage vacancies, or what they summarize as SVVs, were also rather on the rise. They were about 530,000. So this is just like a summary of experience levels and skill gaps, right, in the UK economy that is alarming. The two most commonly cited reasons for recruitment difficulties were that applicants lacked the required specialist skills, knowledge, applications, or qualifications that were there were simply not enough applicants in the first place. And guys, we keep on complaining about the fact that there's no job. But now this is a report that is carried out yearly. There's a quarterly one also. Now they are specifying that one of the reasons why they had a lot of vacancies, we've established the fact that you being in an analytical career is extremely in demand, irrespective of your sector, right? The two most common reasons is the fact that people lack the skills. We keep talking about, that's why I started with the fact that we keep talking about that there's no, I'm not getting this role, but have we sat down to look at the problems what is wrong, or why exactly are we not getting those roles, and try to improve from that? Now, coming back to another survey that was done, most entry-level roles require you to have between 1 to 3 years of work experience. This was another survey. Again, when you get to the slides and you click on the link, you get access to view the reports and you can go through them. Think about this. It's an entry-level role, right? It's meant to you coming into the role as a beginner. But they're now telling you that entry-level roles require years of experience. That math doesn't really add up. Because naturally, it's when I get the job, and then when I am working on this role, it's in terms of experience. That's when I gain experience. And I think that for organizations, it's very, very tricky because they will not want to employ somebody and then they will have to waste time in, let's say, training the person from scratch It's very, very rare. Yes, some organizations would do it, but considering the fact that we're in a fast-paced environment, right? Everybody wants to get on the go. So you need to have a certain level of experience, right? And I think that they just need to cancel out this entry level, or the idea that entry level is beginner. No, you will need to have learned the skills. You need to have worked on some projects, gained a certain, even if you're not like at middle level yet, you need to have experience for an entry level role. Coming back to my slides, there's 6%, no previous experience required, just 6%. Then 7% specify that at least 3 months of experience, either as a data analyst, a data scientist, an HR analyst, or the FA analyst, right? And then we can see the other quarters required at least 1 year, at least 2 years, and at least 3 years. Now, coming back to the next aspect, most job seekers lose out on job applications because they lack experience and the required skill sets. Guys, entry level candidates are most often told that inexperience is the reason why they were not hired for a role. Recall my previous slides that I explicitly stated a job, or the experience. Which one comes first? All right. Naturally speaking, it's on the job that you're meant to get experience. But now research has continuously identified that one of the reasons why people don't get these roles is because they lack the necessary experience needed for them to thrive. Now, guys, moving to my next slide, I want to ask us this question. If employers are requesting for us to have experience before getting the job, and then you just completed like a course, or you just finished a playlist on data analytics or HR analytics, or you've learned about financial modeling and all of that scenarios, where are you supposed to get that level of experience, right? I want us to be very, very realistic about this and talk about this. Where are persons expected to get this level of experience, right? It doesn't really add up. Caleb is saying internship. Interesting. I need more responses. I need more responses. When you meant to get this level of experience. And another scenario would be in terms of, nowadays most organizations, when they are taking in, they have like, if you're taking in an intern, right, you will need somebody that will direct that person in terms of their daily procedures, in terms of, so that scenario whereby you don't give an intern access to your code base, so they don't create chaos and all of that, right? So in terms of, that's the whole logistics of the plan to mentor this person and then train the person from scratch and provide all of the resources. A lot of organizations run away from that, and being practically honest, they will need you to have a certain level of experience before you come on board, and they can keep you on the go whilst you are learning. So yes, you're coming in as an intern, but you need to have a certain level of experience that they can synchronize or they can work with, right? Now, moving to my next slide. Now, we have what we call the Remote Apprenticeship Virtual Experience Program here at Amdari, the only platform that guarantees you work experience. So I'm just going to be having like a mini breakdown of what Amdari offers, and then we'll take questions and we would call it a day. So this is called the Remote Apprenticeship Virtual Experience Program, and it is the only platform right now that guarantees you this work experience that professionals or that recruiters keep talking about, but there is nowhere to get this experience. Now, guys, follow me closely. There are 2 metrics that we use at Amdari to help you land your dream role, and this is very easy. In terms of the analytical career path, irrespective of your analytical career path, it would be your technical skills and experience plus the employability side. That is what would help you land your role, either as a data analyst, a financial analyst, or the HR analyst professional. Again, guys, it's not rocket science. You identify there's a problem why you're not getting those jobs, and you need to implement strategies to get those jobs. I'm mentioning this. If you need access to the slides or recordings for this session, all you need to do is fill the attendance form that is sent to the chat, and all of this will get emailed to you. So coming back to my slides, you just need to work on your technical skills and experience and your employability side to get that job offer. Now, I'm going to be giving us a detailed breakdown of how Amdari does this. That's in terms of improving your employability skills and in terms of making you technically competent to land that respective role. So follow me closely. Now, the way our work experience program works is we have business partners across not just Africa, but Europe and Canada, and they have specific business problems that they are encountering in their organizations. So what they do is they come to us with these problems, and then we include a certain level of anonymity, right? So you don't, because when you work in an organization and then they have specific issues, this would be in-house. They won't really want this information in terms of data privacy to be spread out for the general public to know. And then we bring this problem to you, right, working with us as a data analytics consultant, the HR consultant, or the financial analytics consultant, because that is what we call persons enrolled in our remote apprenticeship virtual experience program, what we call WAVE. Again, guys, you have learned the basics of data analytics, HR analytics, or financial analytics. You're not coming here to come and learn from scratch. No. You're coming here directly to jump hands-on from your very first week. You get to work on projects and then you deliver solutions. So you get split into groups. Depending on the project that you're working on, you would collaborate, you would discuss with your team members on, for this business problem, what strategy do we utilize, what techniques, what tools, and all of that. And then you get to do a presentation and recommendation that we take back to these businesses that would improve their processes. And there's also an advantage during this process, right? Whilst you're working on this project, you get a guided mentor that would walk you through, this is a strategy that you utilized before. Can you try out using this tool? Right? Can your function be this way? Would you not use like a pivot table for all of this calculation in terms of you imputing just manual formulas? Do you think, based off what you have done, can you sit back and review this, right? And think of, they will now guide you in the path that would be efficient, right? And scalable for the particular problem that you are working on. So we get these problems, we give them to you, and then you work on these problems, you have presentations, and in all of this, you are getting experience, right? And you're not just working in a single domain, you'll be working across different domains. Why? Because this is a consulting scenario. So what you're coming to do is deploy the analytical skills that you have in solving a problem and offering a solution to these businesses. And guys, the interesting thing is you now get to refine your employability side in terms of what? Your experience. When you are asked by a recruiter, tell me about a time when you worked on a project that had to do with this. Tell me about a time when you contributed to solve this problem, or when you deployed your skills, or tell me about a time where you had like an increase, a 25% increase, or a reduction of turnover rate and all of that. So you get to leverage on this experience that you learn during your interaction with your team members, or when you get to work on this project. Again, I am emphasizing on this. You're not coming to Amdari to learn the basics of, how do I open Excel, right? Or how do I draw a chart? Yes, you would get direction from your mentors, but you're coming strictly to start working on projects from the go. And then you get to leverage on these experiences. Recall that the formula I mentioned is your technical side plus your employability side. We're refining both of those extremes to land you the role that you are aspiring towards. Now, coming back to a detailed overview of the employability side, you would get the CV review and revamp session. Right? In terms of revamp, you have, let's say, a past experience that is extremely at par with you transitioning to any of the analytical roles. So you would have a professional that would come on a call and speak to you as regards strategies that you need to do, how to leverage your past experience. Guys, you don't need to throw away your past experience, right? I read structural engineering back in uni, and now I currently work as a data scientist. Right, so there are scenarios that I rightly mentioned previously that I had learned in school. I did engineering mathematics for the 5 years. Oh my goodness, I had to do calculus. I had to do all of that scenario. Even if nowadays, right, all of that are encoded in the model computation in Python. Right, you don't need to start doing your manual calculation and all of that. But I can leverage on that experience, right, in my interviews in my next or in my career path as a data scientist. So you would get each of these trainings from the employability professional that we have. Now, in terms of your LinkedIn optimization, again, guys, if you're currently on this call and you don't have a LinkedIn profile, you're not doing yourself good. That's just the honest truth. You are extremely causing chaos for yourself, right? You need to refine your LinkedIn profile. And because that's like one of the hottest professional platforms, actually, right? For tech people, there's also Twitter too, but that's X, but that's on extremes. It's majorly LinkedIn that you get looked up on. Then, in terms of navigating the job market, this is extremely crucial, right? Everybody knows. So I use this example a lot. UK companies know that a lot of persons are looking for sponsorship, right? And it's very dicey for them because they will not want to employ a professional that would come and then just do rubbish, and because they can't really fire you because all of the resources that they've invested. So one technique that they've devised is in terms of contract roles. So you can work with them for like a contract scenario, and then they will now during that period test you if you're a good fit before they can now renew your contract to a full-time role. Now there are lots more nitty-gritty details, right, that I can't just tell you right now because we need to be out of here in a couple of minutes. So we have sessions such as this where we invite professionals that have gone through this process, and then they come to speak to you on strategies that you can leverage or you can utilize in ensuring that if you went in for your master's, or you have, let's say, you're currently running on a student visa and all of that, you can effectively transition. All right, so moving to my next slide would be in terms of interview preparation sessions. Trust me, again, you can be so good at what you do. If you can't tell yourself, if nobody knows that you're good at that, you are just practically, I will not say incompetent, because you are actually good, but nobody knows. So you would get sessions that would teach you, that would propel you on strategies that you can utilize, or how you can give a very, very first impression, right? When they ask you about a project, how do you use the STAR approach? So as your situation, task, action, and your result. That, oh, this was the situation. This was what I now, this was the task. The goal was to do this, this, this. So I used this technique, I used this method, I used these tools in analyzing the data sets, and I created like a report, and the result in terms of it's brought about a 5% increase, a 6% reduction, and all of that. So all of this is what you'll be learning during the interview preparation sessions that you have. Then in terms of on the job reference letter, this is absolutely necessary, right? You are getting an international reference letter from us at Amdari, right? Because recruiters will want to know, what have you done previously, right? Where have you worked? What have you, or they would want to associate an organization to you, to know your work ethics, to know how you did. And if you're going for the school route also, right, this is actually an added advantage because you can get a reference from us that this person, and it's also crucial when, let's say, your previous background was probably in accounting or sciences, and then you're going for a business intelligence degree or a data analytics degree, or in terms of HR and all of that, right? So we get to stand in for you that, oh, this person was employed or is currently employed with us as a consultant, and they've gotten to work across different sectors, offering solutions and deploying their technical skills in solving problems. All right, then my next point would be on the job support. Yes, this is absolute. When you get your roles, you would have your mentors that you could also reach out. You've been working with them across projects, and even your peers, right? So you get to seek their advice as regards, oh, what should I do in this scenario? What's the next line of action? So you don't shoot yourself in the leg or ask your team leader an extremely funny question that you're supposed to know. Now, we have weekly mentorship sessions, right? Earlier I mentioned about a session we had yesterday where there was a recruiter coming to talk to the interns as regards, oh, what they've done, and what recruiters look out for, and the biggest mistakes that tech people make, right? So these sessions are very, very crucial, and tools that you can leverage on as a tech professional. Again, a formula is simple. The technical skills plus the employability side is what would propel you. It is not magic. It's just you putting in the work to ensure that you get the target or the desired goal of you landing that role. Now, there's another thing that Amdari does that absolutely stands out. I will just give us a demo of that in a couple of minutes. We have a job, an exclusive job board. Instead of you having to go through each of these organizations, having to go to their sites, we have a repository on a platform where you can go there and search for jobs in your sector, your domain, and apply to those jobs. So moving to my next slide so we can wrap up, we have an exclusive profile or a portfolio that you can leverage as a professional. You can attach this, on your LinkedIn profile, there's like a place where you can insert a link to your portfolio. And even in your CV, you can insert a hyperlink to not just your LinkedIn profile, but also to your portfolio, right? So you get to upload the project that you've worked on, right? And there is a track record or a repo where any professional can just go there to and know that, oh, okay, this is what you've done previously, these are the strategies you utilize, and this is evidence that this guy can be a good fit for our organization. Again, build something. People want to see real projects, not just your resume. They want to see a track record, especially if you are a tech professional. You talking about, oh, I know how to use the tool, won't really cost you anything. That's when you cross over to the interview phase, right? So you need to show the work. So coming back, this again, we operate on the scenario of project-based experience plus your employability skills is what would land you that role. And in this scenario, you get to work on real-world projects that we get from our partners. You get to work across different sectors. You get to use different tools that are necessary. Again, this is on the job. You're working on the job. Yes, you get a mentor, but we want you to know how a work environment feels like, where you have a deliverable to meet, and then you have to compulsorily or intentionally communicate with your team members to ensure that the deadline or the goal is achieved. Now, in terms of your CV sessions, your LinkedIn sessions, your mentorship sessions, your interview preparation sessions, your on-the-job support, your reference letter, this is a lot. This is, we call the slide I shared initially, the platform that guarantees you work experience. This is what we do solely at Amdari. All right, coming to my next slide, we have a cohort that is starting on the 8th of March and the 12th of April. So for every month, we take in a limited number of professionals. That's based on the projects that we have. And you get to work on those projects and you deliver solutions. So during the process of you working on those projects, that is when you would get the employability sessions that would propel you towards the next level of your career. And guys, we are running this for the different analytical career paths as a data analyst, HR analyst, and a financial analyst. And we are currently running a discount for the first 20 persons. Recall I mentioned we have a limited number of persons that we take for these programs, and we run this on a 3-month basis and 6-month scenario. So we are currently running this discount whereby you can pay $300 instead of the $400 mark, and then you can pay $500 for the 6-month internship instead of the $700. So you are saving $200. And guys, there's an interesting part of you getting to pay instrumentally. All right, so aside your CV session, LinkedIn session, your international work reference letter, your access to the portfolio board, your career coaching sessions, you get a lot from being at Amdari. So I'm just going to demo this payment platform, and then I will just do a brief overview of the Amdari platform so you can go on board and check out the different functionalities that we have for you as a professional. Again, I rightly mentioned that there are just 2 scenarios. We want you to get technically competent, improve your employability skills, and become a professional. So just follow me on my screen. When you click on this link, it takes you to this site. All right, and this is more like the internship enrollment. Recall, this is a remote apprenticeship work experience, that's virtual experience internship program. So what you have to do is you just have to come and click on data analytics. So all of our analytical career paths are grouped under this. So we run this for all the other programs, right? But for the HR analyst, the financial analyst, and the data analyst, you are under data analytics. So when you now come on board during your onboarding session for the projects that you'll be working on, you would now be streamlined into the different sectors or into the different projects that you would be contributing to for your time with us at Amdari. So you just have to click on secure your internship, and it takes you to this tab, and this is loading. And yeah, apologies, this is taking some time to load, and you get to make your payment. So this is the 3 months data analytics program that I am signing up for. I will just change this to, or if you want to stick with US dollars and not pounds, right? It works for you. And again, we have like a limited amount of persons for this scenario, for this discount that we are running. You can just click on, if you want a 3-month payment plan, a 2-month payment plan, or you want to pay at a go, right? For the 3-month scenario, what you can just do is click on this and click on secure internship, and then you get to proceed to make payments. Again, because we know that, yes, there are a lot of persons that would want to acquire this level of experience, we are making this flexible. It is very, very crucial for you to become abreast with what is expected, industry standards, right? So we are making this flexible, and considering the entire package, we are dedicating. That's why I mentioned that Amdari is revolutionizing the way Africans acquire expertise. It is necessary for you to get technical competency. Now, when you are done making payments, all you need to do is come back here, or you'll be redirected or get like an email that takes you back to this form. You just need to now click on payment registration form, right? And then you get to specify, just fill the form, your name, your last name, your registration email, your country of residence, that's where you currently reside, and your current status, your phone number. Just click on next, and you proceed to the next, that's filling the form. I could just demo this. This is me. This is, let me just put primer. And then I could just put my work mail, primer@amdari.io. So this is just me demoing this for you. Then where do I reside? Then in terms of my career, okay, returning to work, and my phone number, I could just this. Then I click on next. Okay, so I think I need to record this. And I click on next. And then this takes me to the form. Again, you know, I mentioned that you're under data analytics, right? So when you get on board, you get splitted into the different projects that you're working on. You can upload a screenshot and the name of the account that you used in terms of making payments, so the finance team can verify what you have done. So this is the simplest, or let's say this is a demo of the projects that, or the payments procedure if you want to join us at Amdari. Now, coming back to this Amdari platform, when you go to your Google platform, right? If you use Google, Safari, Mozilla, or what they call it, I can't really recall again, or Brave, you could just search for Amdari and then just have an overview of the platform. So let me just click on my profile, and the very first thing I want to click on the job board. This is the job board that I spoke about, right? So we get to synchronize all of the jobs in one scenario, and then you can apply for a role. So you just need to search for the particular role, and you would just check. So you don't just apply at a go. No, you need to check if the job description synchronizes with your resume, your CV, right? You need to extract keywords, and there are tools that can do this for you, right? So you just check if the keywords from the JD matches with the one on your CV, and then you apply. You don't just apply at a go. No, you have to pass ATS, right? And those are one of the sessions that you'll be having with the professionals that we will be bringing on board. Now, in terms of your portfolio that I spoke about, let me just come to the portfolio side, and yeah, you get this. This is me. I'm Esogana Barima, and I am from Nigeria, right? So this is just an overview of my years of experience, about me, and you can do all of this by just filling a form. Guys, all of this by just filling a form. And the liberty is, all you need to do is just come back here, share, copy this link and send to a professional or a recruiter for a particular role. So you don't need to stress yourself. Or let's say if you have a LinkedIn profile or you've worked on multiple projects, right? You can just consolidate all of that here and you get to share this, or you could attach this as an hyperlink in your profile and you'll be good to go. And I mentioned that we run this across different projects, right? And different career paths. So this session is just tailored towards the HR, the financial analytics, and the data analytics. So I'll just share, let me just share for data analytics and financial analytics, and we'll be good to go. So this is a project that these guys are currently working on. Again, what you're doing, you're developing skills that are necessary for the work industry. So these guys now, they'll be learning in terms of financial modeling, revenue and profitability analysis, all of this stuff that financial analysts do. So no, I'm a data scientist, so I have to stick with my domain, right? But regardless, you get to work on multiple projects and you get a professional that would speak to you and would give you guidance as regards being a professional, or steps that you could utilize, strategies that you could take, right, to becoming competent. Let me just show you data analytics and I would move on from here to proceed. So this is a current project that, let's see, this is for data analytics. This is a presentation that they did. Exactly. Now, we get to invite external professionals that would get to review what you have done. This is a book study session, right? So again, guys, you are coming to learn skills that would make you thrive as a professional, that would make you become competent or become an outlier in the industry. Now, these are the mentorship sessions that we have. You can see the power of soft skills, why you struggle to land a job, mastering common. This was a session that we had yesterday that I was speaking about, right? So we have professionals come on board and then they get to speak about their experiences and then you learn from there. So this was a particular project that they worked on. Okay, I believe this is it. And then you get to develop your skills, right, as a professional. So guys, at this point, I will just be taking our questions and we'll be calling it a day. Now, when people say that there are no jobs, I always laugh, especially in the analytical domain, right? So if I just, let me just demo this. If I come to, let's see, let's use read.co. Let me share this tab instead, and then let me just search for, yeah, this is like a popular website. And then let's see, let's try data analysts, right? Let's see data analyst, and then let me just search for this. Now, I would want you to come to, yeah, you can filter based on sector actually, right? I want you to come to, let me see, date posted. Today was 93. Last 3 days was 611. Last week was 782. Let's try for the financial analyst. All right, let's see. And then come back. Guys, I am always of the opinion that settle down and learn. It's not this process of you landing that role. It's a procedure, right? For you to be onboarded into an organization, you should be able to contribute to that organization. You should be able to offer value to that organization. So don't think or don't assume that by chances of luck, I won't employ you to come and create chaos for me. No, you need to have the skills. So why not at this point of your life or at this point of your growth process, settle down to what? To learn. So let me just check for HR and we'll be good to go. Now, this is very dicey, right? So again, guys, coming back here, this is just today. This is the last 3 days. Because I mentioned that what you need to do is settle down to learn the career path. Now, Sometimes some of these roles, the names would change. It's the same analytics, the same tools that you are deploying to ensure that you are contributing to an organization, right? So this will be all from my end. I will be taking questions and we will be calling it a day. Now, Amdari is using a simple strategy, a simple approach, right? It's very simple. Yes, it's intensive. I'm going to be very realistic with you. You get to work on projects, you get to create slides for your presentations, you get to give us a detailed overview of steps, techniques, and methodologies that you utilize. You get to collaborate with people, right? You have to ensure that your team meets like a particular deadline. So in all of this, you are getting the exposure, you are getting the experience of, when you get asked like a situation question of, oh, what have you done, right? In a team, how can you manage this? How can you leverage this? You can now effectively speak from experience to your recruiter that this is what I have done previously, and this is how I can contribute to an organization. So Esther is asking, you said will be shared in a group. Are we doing, apologies, that would be from my alarm. All right, so now you said you said will be shared in a group. So are we going to each do the project individually as a group? I'm asking because when one upload the project on portfolio, it's gonna be no. Now there are diverse scenarios. You would get to work on the project yourself alone. Okay. Now you get to create, let's say, if it's a dashboard, if it's a portfolio, or if you're working on a query system where you'd have to detail out the query out answers for a particular role, right? You will get to work on it individually. Now, there are scenarios whereby you would get to work with other team members. Now, there's a project that the February guys are working on. So it's like an e-commerce scenario where they need to publish a platform. So there's the data engineers that will be responsible for scraping the data. There's a data scientist that they are building a predictive model for customer sentiment scenario. And then they have the data analyst that would be working on a dashboard. So there's going to be like an API call from the dashboard that the data analyst creates to the platform. In that kind of project now, you would have to work with your team, right? Because there's a scenario whereby you would need to create, right, a dashboard that would be integrated into the platform. Now, it's different scenarios. For the very first, before you get to that all-encompassing project, because that costs a lot, we would need to ensure that you are technically competent before we can move you to that project, so we don't waste a lot of resources and then have issues for our professionals or for our business partners. So when you come on board, the first set of projects that we're working on, you are going to work alone, right? Because another thing is when people work in groups, they tend to hide, or there'll be persons that will be extremely active and then persons that will be reluctant. No, we don't do that. We want to put you on the spot. All right, so you get to work individually on your project. You get to upload that in your Google Classroom. You get a presentation session, and that would be reviewed. When you now move on to the stage of having a full encompassive project, that's where your team scenario, right, would come in place. But whilst you're working on your individual projects also, you would have a grouping for accountability, for checkups, and all of that scenario. Now, this is specific to the projects that you're working on. So during your onboarding session, you will get all of this information. You will get an overview of the projects that you will be working on and the next line of action. And guys, if I'm being practically honest with you, you cannot hide, right? You literally cannot hide. You came here to learn, so you will be singled out and you would need to develop the skills. So Bongani is asking, usually how long does a project take? Now, this is relative. So the very first project you'll be working on would span maximum of 2 to 3 weeks. Now, the next project can span 3 to 4 weeks. So it's based off the tools that you'll be utilizing. If you're working with just, let's say, Power BI, or if you're working with an enhancement that will have to include you using, let's say, Excel, or you working with Office scripts, or you need to work with SQL and then synchronize with Power BI and all of that. So it depends on the project. It is specific to the project that you're working on. Again, there would be a project briefing session to give you an overview of the steps or that the tools that you'll be working on, right? And the techniques you need to utilize. So for data analytics, what tools must I be familiar with in order to complete the project? So I think I'll just go back to the Google Classroom and share that project. Now, let me share this tab. This was the previous project that I was sharing. So for this particular project, you're working with Office scripts and you're using Microsoft Excel. Now, you would get to use Looker, Power BI, SQL, Excel, and a lot more other, right? Because I know the current all-encompassing project that these guys are working on, they're using Looker Studio. Again, this is dependent on the particular projects that you're working on. And the interesting thing is you get to work across different sectors, right? So for this particular project, this is on optimizing order fulfillment. Let me just find another one. This is for project 2 that they worked on. Let's see. This is on Nova Trust Bank, and there's more like a project brief. That's during your project overview session, you will get an introduction to what is expected in your project. And in this scenario, they're using Power BI, and there's a detailed breakdown. The whole essence of this is to give you guidelines, because we know that you have learned the basics, you've gone over, let's say, the tools and techniques, but you don't really have that experience. So that's the purpose of your mentor that would give you, oh, this is the step that you need to take, this is what you need to do, and this is the next line of action. So let me just go back and take other questions. Let's see, can you please share the videos of the previous sessions? Now, if you go to our YouTube channel, Henry, if you just go on YouTube and you search for Dari, you'd see an overview of sessions that we've had previously that you could look into and then just gain overview. Or you could just go to www.amdari.io. So let me see. Is there any difference between 3 months and 6 months enrollment in terms of the projects that will be done? Now, for the 3 months, you average 4 to 5 projects. It depends on the complexity of the project, guys. There's some projects that you need to learn on the spot, and then there will be times where you would be the one requesting that, sending an official mail for a request of extension, right? Because of the intensity of the project. And now you know that based on your skill level, that's what will determine, right, how you will do well in a project. You know, I've been emphasizing on the fact that, yes, you have a mentor that would guide you, but if you've never done anything data analytics before, Amdari is not for you. I am absolutely sorry. Amdari is strictly for you to gain work experience. You get the liberty to learn on the job, hone the skills that you have learned previously. Right, so it's more like the knowledge that you have, you're augmenting it with what is expected in industry standards. So the difference is for the 6 month scenario, you get to work on more projects compared to the 3 month scenario. For the 6 months, you're going to be with us for a long time. So you get the mentorship sessions that we'll be having, extra employability sessions that would span that period. But for the 3 months, it would still be your schedule of project and the employability sessions. But the 6 months just has more projects than the 3 months. All right, so what if we have the skills but don't really know how to use it to work? Now, this is a very dicey question. How can you have the skills? Which skills do you have? If you have the skills, let's say you have, Excel, or you know how to use Power BI. For you to have the skills, it means you know how to use the tool, right? Again, that's why I'm emphasizing on the fact that for you to join Amdari, it means you have foundational knowledge. That's just the truth. It means you've either taken a course, you've watched YouTube videos, you know how to use Excel, you know how to use Power BI. If there are tools that you've never used before, let's say new, like the latest now would be in terms of Office scripts, that's just a modification in Excel, right? If there are new updates that are being implemented in these tools, you would get to learn them. But the foundation, you should know it. You're coming here for work experience. Strictly work experience. Now, if there are, let's say, external visualization tools that we can wake up tomorrow morning and then it's out, and you need to learn whilst you're working on that project, we would give allowance because we understand that, oh, these are persons that are interning with us, that are coming up in their career. All right. But you must have the foundational knowledge of these tools. That's why I started with, you need to have like a self-evaluation of what you have learned and what you currently need to know. Okay, so let's see. We will also be assisted in getting the job. Now, we provide you with your interview preparation sessions, your employability sessions, a job board, right? You would be the one to apply for the job, right? We will not from our end help you apply for the job. No, 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 no. We create the environment for you to become technically competent. We provide you with an exclusive job board. That's one of the advantage of being an Amdari. So what you need to do is just apply, right? So what if I don't know Lucas Studio? I know everything except Lucas Studio. Funny enough, this is a current scenario with this guy. So we give them an extension for them to learn, right? But this is very dicey again, because for the data analyst, what is mostly common is Power BI, Excel, SQL. And now because Looker is a tool that is very, very on in demand right now, that's why there's a project for them to work on, right? So you get, if you notice from the slides that I shared, let me just go back to the order fulfillment slide. What's this project? Let me just scroll and yeah, share this tab instead. You'll notice there are what? They are direct tutorials that could teach you or give you an idea on what to do. Okay, but again, you should have the other skills, right? Don't come to Amdari and then this is the very first time you are learning about Excel. I'm emphasizing on this because your projects would stretch you. They are very, very intensive. You're coming here to get work experience. I think this is like the 50th time that I'm repeating this, right? You thinking that you know data analytics. Let's say you've watched a 1 hour video on YouTube. No, 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 right? If you've, let's say, you know your dashboard and you've done a mini project before, or you've done a course and you understand how these tools work, but you need to improve on that knowledge, right? You are coming here, right, to work on this project and you get technically competent. Now, Omote is asking, are we going to work with a company? Sorry, couldn't join earlier. Now, the structure that we work with is we get this project from our business partners, right? So whilst you are employed with us as a data analytics consultant, you get to work on that project. And then during your review, right, we bring in external stakeholders that would come to criticize what you've done, right? So we are the middleman, right? You will not be in direct contact with the organizations, all right, for privacy reasons. We get those problems from them. And whilst you are working with us as a data consultant, you apply those scenarios or your solutions, or based off your experience, apply the tools and techniques. And if there are scenarios whereby we need to contact the organization that, oh, we noticed this in your data set, can you give us more data? Can you provide more information? So we are the middleman between you working with us as a consultant, because you'll be working across different business problems, and then the organization that's our business partners. So Bongan is asking, if I take a 3-month package, will I be able to assess my portfolio? Now, your portfolio is always going to be your portfolio. All right. So we're not going to take that from you. Now, the 3 months issue or the 3 months program is that you get like a limited number of projects, right? But for the 6 months project, you get like an extensive number of projects. So your portfolio would always be for you. It's not going to disappear, or we're not going to close it down, right? So coming back, Ifeanyi is asking, can you mentor me, Abarima, as a newbie in financial or business analysis? Again, I am a data scientist. I am sorry, right? If you were into AI or if you were into data science, I could. But we have professionals that are currently with the Amdari team. I would walk you through every step of the way, right? You would get to work on projects and you would get to learn from them. Again, business analysis is not the same thing as business analytics. There's financial analytics, there's HR analytics, there's business analytics. You see why I started with the definition of analytics, right? It's different from business analysis. So business analysis, you're more tailored towards identifying, oh, okay, what are the business requirements in terms of stakeholder management, stakeholder engagement, and all of those scenarios. You working with your PMs. Yes, you need to deploy analytical tools, right? But your main goal is in terms of identifying business needs, finding solutions to business problems, requirements gathering, all of those stakeholder analysis, solution evaluation, process analysis, and all of that. So that's now the domain of business analysis. And we currently have an internship experience for business analysis, but for business analytics, the same analytical tools that you are deploying to solving or to providing solutions. All right, so the recording for this session and the resources that we've used, the slides and every other thing would be emailed to you. All you need to do is fill the form and we would get in contact to you. Now, this discount is running for the first 20%. And if you recall, when I shared the link, we have 16 more slots and we would be done. So in case you have more questions, I'll be taking them. If not, we will be calling it a day. And you could always send us a mail to finance@amdari.io or reach out to us on any of our platforms and we will be here to guide you. Now, in summary, the goal of Amdari is to revolutionize the way professionals acquire experience, right? So Deborah is advisable to still go for this if I am now rusty due to lack of practice. Deborah, have you learned data analytics or any of the career paths before? If yes, if you've learned it before, you understand the tools, right? Even if there's been like a knowledge gap, you can learn. But if you've never, ever, this is the first time you want to come and learn what data analytics is, no, please, right? But if you've done this before and then because of the fact that you had to stop, right, and probably work or life and other scenarios, right, yes, you can register. And whilst you're doing the internship experience, you have a mentor that would guide you, right? You're coming straight to project, and that's actually the fastest way for you to learn. All right, so whilst you're working on projects and whilst you're communicating with your mentor, you get experience. Yes, there's actually room to learn. Again, I am mentioning that if you have never ever done data analytics before, right? If you've never done data analytics before, this is your first time in knowing what data analytics means, no, please. But if you've done it, you've gone over the basics, right? That's why we have a mentor to guide you. Whilst, yes, this is an on-the-job scenario, you're coming to work on projects directly, but we know that there are some persons that have probably forgotten, they have issues, and then they don't really know how to progress. That's why we have a dedicated mentor. You get to have stand-up sessions, right? So that's average, that's like 3 or 2 times in a week. And then you come to speak to your mentor and then discuss with them that, oh, this is a problem that I'm currently facing. What do you think I should do? Right? What should be the next step? Okay, and then you have access to them via your Slack channel because that's like a work environment that we use, and you get to communicate with them. You can send them an email that, oh, okay, this is the problem that I am facing. What do you think I should do? That is why your mentor is there. So it's like a structure that we have put in place to ensure that once you've gone over the foundations, you need to get technically competent. We are providing you with that environment, right, that would make you become competent, right? So long you've gone through the basics, right, you know the foundation of data analytics, you will be good to go. Okay, so this would be the end of the session. Tomiwa just sent in the form again if you want to secure your slot, or if you want to get the resources for this session. All you need to do is fill in the attendance form, right? And if you need more clarity, you can just send us a mail. That would be for Deborah and Taiwo, and then we can have another conversation as regards, oh, what exactly is your skill level right now, and what's the next line of action for you. All right, so that will be end of this session, and we have this discount currently open for 16 persons as stated on our platform. And I will be looking forward to having us at Amdari. Trust me, it's going to be like a very, very exciting experience, getting to collaborate with other persons from different time zones. We get persons from Ireland, we get persons from Canada, we get persons from France, and then we have some persons from Nigeria also that gets to work on this project and get to become technically competent. Trust me, it's amazing when you go from just, let's say, your medium level knowledge to becoming a standard professional. So that will be all from my end, right? And I will be calling it a day. So if I is asking, why is Amdari not doing the foundational knowledge sessions and now transition to internship for interested students? Again, we run a remote apprenticeship virtual experience program, right? So what we can do for you is we can refer you to a training platform that you could use that would aid your learning. But the problem or the vision here at Amdari is to close the gap between what you have learned and what is required in the industry, right? Because we've noticed that gap in technical competency and in terms of the employability side. We know that there are a lot of platforms out there where you can learn data analytics, financial analytics, HR data. There are a lot, trust me, on YouTube, there are a lot of people that you can follow, right? But you becoming technically competent, you knowing what is expected in the industry, that is something, that's the gap that has been consistently there that we are closing. Okay, so you can reach out to us via any of our platforms and we would be happy to clarify and have a discussion with you as regards the next line of action. So because it's a day here, can I get a reaction if you're looking forward to Amdari, if Amdari is solving a problem that is crucial? And I enjoyed this session. I don't know about you, but cheers, and have a wonderful evening. So Taiwo, Deborah, Ifeanyi, I'll be looking forward to our conversations and to every other person. Cheers and have a lovely, 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 lovely day.